And if you scare them, they will pee. And if they pee, they could die because they won't make it to the next watering hole or whatever they got planned out. Like they're extremely talented with that. I'm like, holy crap. So yeah, just poke him and he's done. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the struggle's real. Respect, brother. Go ahead. Yeah, $25,000. I'm not touching you or messing with you, bro. So
That's definitely not one of those I was expecting to talk about. Like, oh, you can't touch the turtle because he'll piss himself and die. Like,
yeah, yeah. I didn't.
well, we've digressed a whole bunch. So if you don't mind me asking, if we go back to AIT a little bit, we're there together, AIT, learning the job and stuff. And you had mentioned how you met your
Kinda.
wife in AIT, and
Yeah.
I remember at that time being like, "What are you doing, dude? Why are you getting in a relationship when we're both young in the military? We could go all these different places, and here you are getting, locked down." And
Yeah, we weren't supposed to. Like that was the whole thing, right? They tell you through AIT you're not here to date or get in a relationship or any of that other thing. You shouldn't even we weren't even supposed to be fraternizing, right? Like talking to the to be fair, that was a perfect storm. I think it had to go the way it went. I'm so glad it did. We're married now. Again, 15 years because that's where we're at, like our whole military career, basically.
yeah,
Uh, I remember meeting her and thinking, Johnson was one of the other soldiers that was there. We had a conversation after we got back from one of our weekends, and I said, I'm gonna marry her. He's like, you're so serious. How do you know that? Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, I did. I am. I will. Um, but she was at 88 Hotel. She was from Puerto Rico. I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking, I'll be fair, to date anybody. I was really focused on just making it through AIT and moving on to the next level, right? Um, she was a reservist. We graduate AIT. During AIT we started sort of seeing each other over the weekend, like just hanging out or whatever. San Juan, where it really started. Like I said, I shout out to my boy. So San Juan set up between San Juan and her group. They were like, "Hey, everybody's going to like a movie this weekend." One of the weekends that came up, and I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Like, let's go do that. Sounds good." You know what I mean? So I say, "Yeah." They say, "Yeah." She says, "Yeah." Um, it rolls around. It's time for the movie. It was going to be Armor. Like, we're going to go watch Armored. I don't know if you remember that one. So we all show up. Me and San Juan. You couldn't be. You remember you had to have a battle buddy.
yeah, yeah,
So you had to come in twos. Everywhere you went was that was the rule. That was the right thing to do. And if you got caught without, your battle buddy, whatever, you were in trouble off base. So it was me and San Juan, and we went. And we were expecting her to show up with somebody else or a whole group. Like that's how it initially looked. But she shows up by herself. And I look over at San Juan, I'm like, dude, I think this is a date. Like, holy crap. Hold up. Like we've been talking before that. We've been kind of tossing eyes and, whatever. Hey, how you doing? Liked each other, whatever. And so she shows up by herself, and I'm like, oh, we're bending some rules. We're on a date. Like that's something else. So I look at San Juan, I'm like, dude, sit back, like be there, but sit like a row back or two, give us some space, right? And we go to watch the movie, and she thought of it as not a date, and she'll tell you that that was not our first date, but I'll tell you that to this day, I thought that she set me up, and that was a date. Like we were just linking
yeah.
up
Like in
for that
hindsight,
day.
it looked very much
Yeah.
like a day.
So when I came to that understanding, I reached over, held her hand, da 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 da. We watched this movie, and for her, that was the moment when she was like, "Oh yeah, he likes me. There's something going further from. There's something deeper here than just the friendship or whatever." We went through quite a few struggles after that. The biggest struggle was when we graduated AIT, right? Like I went to Florida when she went to Puerto Rico. Like we had distance.
Yeah.
That sucked. So unfairly to her, but also very intensely wanting to keep our relationship together. When she was in Puerto Rico and I went to let me backtrack that just a little bit. So my first duty station was Fort Irwin, but you had a program where when you graduated out of AIT, you could go work with hometown recruiting for a short stint. It was something like 6 months, and then you would go to your final duty station. I signed up for that program. So I went to my local recruiting office for a little while. During that time, we kept talking. We would still talk on the phone.
Okay.
Um, and then that's where it felt to me like it was. a little more serious, a little more worth pursuing because she didn't just forget about me and I didn't forget about her. We just kind of we're still very much interested in talking to each other and sort of staying together. So I did the hometown recruiting time, thing, and she mailed me the cute little box with his with a little soldier and letters and all that other good stuff. Like it was, I was like, damn, this is serious.
Yeah.
Might go further. So I go when I got to Fort Irwin, we were still doing the phone thing, and it was, I don't know, we just got tired of being apart. Like
Yeah.
by then it had been so long. We're like, the only way we're gonna, in my mind, the only way we were gonna be together is if we just went ahead and got married. But that's a hard ask of anybody that like we've only known each other for the term of AIT, right? That's the whole time we spent together was
Yeah.
AIT. So in my mind, I was like, I'm asking her to marry me like now so that we could get BAH, get a house, like stay together, be together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make
Yeah. I
this
mean,
work.
I could see where it would make things a lot easier moving to the same area and getting everybody together and stuff.
Yeah, but so in order to do that, it was like you know, got to be married. So I remember talking to her on the phone one day and just going, "Hey, like I don't want to be apart anymore. Let's take the next step. Like let's get married. You can get annulled in like a year or two if it doesn't work out. But let's get married. Let's get all the benefits that we're supposed to be getting from the army, get a house, get all that. You come here, we stay together, we'll do move in dating, whatever. Uh, and see how it works out." And she still picks at me. It wasn't a romantic, will you marry me? I get it. I understand. But I was so concerned with, first off, I was thinking that, you know, that's a hard ask for her. I'm asking
Yeah.
her to marry me just so that we can date. Like we can be stationed together or positioned together to date. But I was willing to do whatever. So she said yes. And yeah, she flew into Fort Irwin and we went to Vegas and we got married in Vegas. And yeah, and when she came back, she flew back home for a short while. I set things up. She came, and we got the house, and we started off with absolutely nothing. Like we had a
Yeah.
blow up mattress and a TV that was borrowed from another soldier that shared it with us. So it was like, here you go, bro. You're all hooked up. It was
Yeah.
rough. We went through a beautiful development in that relationship, and not the formal way, right? Like I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, he put out flowers and said, "Will you marry me?" And we dated for 2 years and da 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 da. Like all the things that you would think that make a successful marriage. We didn't cross those bridges. We crossed much more difficult bridges, doing a lot
Yeah.
along the way, dealing with both of us being in the military, uh, being away all the time, you know, all the challenges that come with that stuff. Uh, I think we were just stronger for it. Like I'm blessed to have her. I'm blessed to have somebody who's in the army. So when the army's asking things of me at certain times or I have to go do things, she completely understands what that's like. I
Yeah.
don't have to
Yeah.
explain to her that I can't tell the first sergeant, go F yourself. You know what I mean? And just walk
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
because my wife wants me home right now. You know, like the little things that actually they mean a lot in a relationship. You know what I mean? It's hard for anybody. Picture yourself, right? Like if you didn't understand the army, for your spouse to come home and tell you that somebody else has more control over your life and your time and your stuff, you know, and to some extent than you do, you know,
Yeah.
and you're in a
Well,
relationship with them.
being active duty, it's what is it? Every 2 years or something, they send you to a different duty station and switch a whole unit.
Yeah, or
So
that. That's
so it's
huge
like,
too.
hey,
Yeah.
just so you know, for the next 20 years, every 2 years we're moving, whether I want to or not. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, we got orders. We're going. Like,
yeah,
we had to go to Korea. She was scared. We had to go to Korea, but I got it. We're in the in the army. I'm in the army. We got it. We did it.
yeah,
So pack up and let's go. He's been through so many challenging things. Following me around in that first half of my career, and then later on when we went to Puerto Rico, then when we were stationed in Wisconsin, we were in Wisconsin for 5 years on the AGR program. She came onto the AGR program there. We got really lucky and blessed that when she came on the AGR program after me, they were able to put her into a position that was in the same location. So we were there, like together still. We were very lucky in that. Takes a lot of work to be in military couple, but I'm lucky and blessed to have it. She's been a blessing all the way back to AIT. So when you're
yeah,
not supposed to meet people, when you're not supposed against all the odds, all the BS, all the nonsense, all the love story stuff people tell you, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Your asshole roommate going like, "What are you doing, dude?"
What are you doing? You doing, bro? Fix yourself, bro. You're not supposed to be doing that. Yeah. Yeah, man, through it all, we made it. I'm so proud of her. I love her.
Wow.
I'm
Well,
happy to have her.
I'm really happy for you guys. I mean, I truly
Yeah.
am. Being married with three kids and all that. Now, I started a little bit later than you did, and I had more of the conventional. I dated my wife for like 4 years before we got married, all that kind of stuff. So it's like I said, I just like people's stories, and I think it's really cool and really unique story that you guys have in the way that you went about it. And I'm glad it's all working out for you.
Yeah, there's just a ton of times we should have fell apart, but we didn't. I don't know what I can attribute it to other than we're just willing to push, to push through it, to understand, to sit down and talk through things, and we've always taken the hard route, like just like any individual human being, the harder route sometimes makes you more prepared to deal with the things later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this relationship was forged through fire. And I was lucky enough to have somebody who's willing to commit to that,
Yeah.
the loyalty aspect. We were talking about it last night on date night. We just do a light loose date night Friday. We just started that recently. And that's great for our relationship where it's not really expectations that anybody does anything. She told me two or three times last night, relax, relax, relax. We're not planning anything. So we just go out, have a dinner and have some drinks and sit and talk. And, how'd
Yeah.
you feel about this? And just connect. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I wish it for everybody. I hope everybody gets it. It's
Yeah.
about loyalty and willing to work through some things is what we were talking about last night. Uh, how did we get this far? What can we attribute it to? Through you going to, she's a warrant officer now. I'm
Oh
so proud
yeah.
of her. She did it. She went and
That's
got it
awesome.
done. It was not easy. But she went to Wolbeck for what was that, like 3 months and walk, and they were almost back to back, and so I held on the fort while she went and did those things. And so we were talking about like how did we get through all this stuff? And it's really just wanting loyalty was one of the things we touched on, like being able to lean into that person and know that they're here regardless. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Regardless of what happens in the relationship, what happens with the future, your professional career, whatever. And then the second piece was stepping back and pushing the other person up, knowing when it's time to support
Yeah.
your so for me to support her, knowing when it's my turn to put her up on stage and I'm just playing the background role. She's got to go forward and do her thing. And then her knowing that she's got my back when it's time for me to go do those things and um not taking that lightly.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm lifting you up, and then when you get there, you're gonna step back and pull me up.
Yeah. Well, that's
Uh,
one of those interesting things of like you talk about successful relationships and people try to say like, oh, it's 50-50, or if it's you got both got to be 100% all the time. And it's like I would say it's more of like the 50-50, but there are some days it's 70-30. And there are other days it's 60-40 the other way.
yeah.
So it's like when my partner isn't bringing that half in, I got to suck it up and I got to push that little extra to take up the slack, and that's the back being a team, that back and forth working together. And so yeah, it's very cool that you guys have done that. And would you say that your initial separation at all helped contribute to your guys' ability to like really get to know each other as people? Because when all you have is talking on the phone, you're not able to be together. It's you don't really fall back on that. Oh, like we're just here together. You guys had to figure out what you were talking about and coming up with new conversations, talking all the time, being long
Yeah, it was
distance.
always easy. I mean, I think whatever had to happen, I'm so glad it did happen for us to be where we are today. There's definitely it was more than just us working at it. I know that. 'Cause again, it just doesn't add up. Like it shouldn't. We weren't supposed to be together. We weren't supposed to date. We weren't. All these not supposed tos. All these barriers were in the way. She English was her second language,
Okay.
so even communication was difficult in the beginning. I had a feeling. I don't know if I could contribute it to spirituality in any way. I don't know if you believe in a higher power or whatever. I don't necessarily believe in putting a name on a higher power, but I know I believe in a creator. So let's just say that. creation exists, right? And the universe. So I call it the universe. There was definitely universal interference in our path and where we where we are now. And just
Yeah.
being open and receptive to that and understanding you're not fully in control of your past, but you're fully in control of how you're gonna handle it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
What you're gonna do. So talking on the phone absolutely help, but also taking control of I had the feeling like this is she's like I told Johnson in AIT, I want to marry that woman. I don't know what came over me that I would say that. I had crappy relationships before her. And I wasn't even looking for a relationship before her, but I
Yeah.
felt it. Like I felt it. And then when to feel that connection, yeah, talking and she was so committed. Like I could get a sense of that. Maybe it was that loyalty thing,
Hmm.
like fiercely loyal. Like I love you. I'm here. Like we're gonna grind. I got a sense of that from her very, very early. And it might have been, yeah, having the opportunity to talk to her over the phone or even in AIT, having the opportunity to talk to her and have the very serious conversations. You really couldn't do anything else,
Yeah.
right? Like it was hard to do anything else, but really just connect with a person. So maybe it definitely there's a chance it was there, but I don't want to take credit away from the universe or creation or whatever blessing I was given because I know
Yeah.
it was there. There was no way I could know in 4 weeks that, but I was sure.
Yeah.
I told him on my dad, dude, I'm gonna marry that woman. And sure enough, we're like, here we are. So
Yeah, I feel very much the same way. No matter what kind of label you want to put on it, some things just feel like they were meant to be.
yeah.
And it was similar with my wife. Like at the time, I was just dating around. I had no interest in trying to get married or anything. You know, like when her and I got together, it was simply like I was just trying to date somebody, or maybe not even fully date somebody. You know what I mean? And then like a few weeks in, it was something very similar. It was just like, you know what, like this girl's different, like I could see myself being with her for, the long haul kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you feel, I feel like that might be a key component to it. You hear a lot of people say that they weren't necessarily looking, or at least I have. So maybe letting the relationship come to you in a way, do you know what I mean? Like if
Yeah,
you're out
well,
hunting for somebody to be with or trying to hunt something down, maybe that's the wrong position to be in, the mindset.
yeah,
Maybe you should be more centered on you and just allow sort of something to happen.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
oh,
like you say,
maybe I met this person. Maybe.
there's only so much within your control. So like an old sergeant of mine used to say, like nothing happens on your time, but all you can do is like with your promotion. You do what you can do. You get all the points, get all the schools, you keep yourself poised in that position. And
Hmm.
then it might not happen when you want it to, but when it comes around, when the opportunity presents itself, you're available to it, you know? And
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. Not to get too spiritual again, though, but all the success that we have, my wife and I have put in place so far has been, when people say luck, oh, you got lucky. I think there might be a little bit of luck, but honestly, most of it feels like when you're prepared and the opportunity hits, you're able to action on that opportunity. So being prepared for the opportunity. The opportunities are happening all the time. The universe is putting things in your path 24/7. Are you in tune with it? Are you connected? You know what I mean? Do you meditate? Or do you know where you're at? And then have you been preparing yourself to be able to take advantage of that opportunity? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like you said, are you trained? Do you got the savings build up? Whatever it is, that you're working at, are you ready for it? It's not luck. It's preparation meeting the opportunity.
yeah.
That syncing up, making that sync up. Don't just worry on you. Just worry about being prepared, right? The opportunities
Yeah.
are going to come. And maybe
Well,
that's the same way in the relationship.
like even in basic training at the time, I got along a lot better with guys like you who were a little bit older than me. I didn't really get along with the 18, 19-year-olds and stuff. And I didn't really want a family or kids or anything. Then I went to basic and I found myself hanging out with the guys who had families and kids a lot more. And like they would get letters and pictures from home and be like, "Oh man, you got pictures of your kids? Like, dude, let me see," and so then later that translated to, I meet my wife. I wasn't looking for something at the time, but I recognized that that opportunity was there and was like, yeah, like she could really be, as they say, the one or whatever, and just letting it go from there, not fighting it, leaning into it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's that's one thing I would give to everybody. I would hope everybody just gets has a chance to just focus on you, man. Just focus on you. A guy, girl, whatever. Take the time to develop yourself. Pursue your interests, make yourself better every day, make yourself your own personal project, and whatever else you're looking for, trying to do in your life and your goals. If you're really looking into you, prepping you, taking care of you, you want to be physically this, physically more fit, you want to be whatever it is, start pushing towards those things and don't be worried about everything else going on around you and all of the pieces that are in line with your goals would, I feel like they'll just present themselves and you'll be in a situation prepared to receive those
Yeah.
opportunities and make the best out of them. So
Well,
I just felt like that was a piece of it because just like you're saying, that was the thing we both shared in our relationship was that you weren't really looking, you know, you were just kind of like existing, and then there was this opportunity, and you're kind of open to it, like, okay, well, let's see what happens, and then from there, that's when it
yeah.
solidifies, right? I think your different mindset might just yield different results,
Yeah.
you know, because the
For
mindset
sure.
is the only thing you do have control over, you know,
Yeah.
how you're going to approach it, how you're going to deal with it
Yeah.
with things. So.
Yeah, like you said, you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. So,
Yeah. 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 Big proponent of that. Big. I 100% believe in it. Because how many times were we in the suck and we were just embracing the suck, laughing about it, joking
yeah.
about it? Like, all right, well, we're in the rain, in the mud. The
That
weapon's crap.
freezing
I got
cold rain.
sandpaper cheeks right now because the sand's rubbing it. Like, but whatever. I'm going to smile about it. We're going to joke. We're just going to drive on because ain't nothing
Yeah.
we can do about it.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do, man? Like thinking
Yeah.
back in Kentucky, you talk about the rain. It rained so much for a while there in basic.
Yeah.
Just like that stinging, freezing rain. And it's just
Yeah.
like no matter what you do, it's not gonna get any warmer. So just keep moving.
Yeah, man. That's it. That's all you can control your mindset. Control your
So
mindset. And that's another work on you thing, right? So what we
yeah.
were getting at earlier. Work on you. Be the best you that you can be, and you will attract those things into your life, into your sphere of influence.
Yeah.
So
So moving on from there, you guys meet up in AIT, you finish, you went so you said you did the recruiter thing first.
yeah, I did
And
hometown recruiting for about 2 weeks. Yeah.
so I've heard that, but I wouldn't say that I'm super familiar. Were you just there as like assisting a recruiter or
Yeah, so you show up to your orders cut your orders that get cut send you to the recruiting office that you signed up out of
Mhm.
for 2 weeks. And what you'll do is you go assist the recruiters at the local high schools and stuff. So
Okay,
they go out
gotcha.
there and they go talk to soldiers, and you're just providing your experience and sort of your would you recommend it? Like you're somebody that the high schoolers were supposed to be familiar with. But remember, I'm 24. I graduated years ago. I don't know these kids
Yeah,
anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not really connected to them. But you're supposed to be, you know, you probably graduated the year or two before them, or they're graduating a year after you, and you're somebody that they know and can
yeah.
trust, and you can provide that expertise, that experience, that knowledge of what it's like to sign the army. Would you do it? You know what I mean? What's basic like? All that. You help them.
You're fresh out of basic. Yeah. You
So
you you just went through it so you can give like the most fresh take on what it was really like kind of thing.
yeah, would you do it again? Whatever their questions are, you know what I mean? These
Yeah.
high schoolers coming at us.
Okay. And then so then it's off to California to Fort Irwin, right?
Yeah,
Where you
first
did
duty
the train
station.
you were training that so that was Fort Irwin is a training base basically, or at the time it was, right? Like that's where a lot of units got sent to get trained.
NTC is called NTC is the National Training Center.
Yeah.
So it is well, because of obvious reasons, primarily it was selected for, you know, the war in Iraq, Afghanistan.
Yeah.
It simulates that. You're in the
That's what I was
desert.
going to say. They put it out in the desert. That's where they started sending many units to go get. somewhat prepared to go overseas and spend a year in the desert, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's where you do your they do a ton of training. Yeah,
And
yep.
so that your job as of November there, was it as training for November stuff, or were you actually doing like movement for Irwin?
So we were that's where we were blessed that we were actually doing actual we were doing movement stuff. So
Okay.
you have the railhead and units coming in to train, right? Have to ship their equipment to bring their stuff. So stuff would come in through the railhead, stuff would come in on the back of trucks. And then you have to bring the troops as well, right? So they coming in on buses, they're coming in on planes and then on buses, like all that stuff. We were we were responsible for assisting with all of that. So
Okay.
we're making sure the flights are arriving, getting packs counts, making sure they got enough buses, putting them on buses, getting them to the base for training, unloading the equipment, assisting with the convoys to get them to base from wherever they downloaded it, all that stuff, everything about movements, getting them in. So up to like 100 and something pieces of equipment, 200, whatever, and then 100 and something, 200 something people every 2 weeks, like from friggin' 6 to 6, see, like 24/7, 7 days
Yeah.
a week, bringing them in and taking them out, getting the units out, shipping them back home. So all of that, yeah.
Okay. So that was pretty high tempo for that then, huh?
Yeah, yeah, 2, 3 weeks straight. You can ask Julie. It was a hard time. We were just freshly married, and I'm waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, heading out to the rail yard, and I wasn't coming home till 9, 10 o'clock
Yeah.
in 120-degree heat out in the day for the most part, with breaks for lunch and maybe 15-minute break here and there to get out of get in the shade.
Yeah.
And then eventually I worked the flight line in Skila, which is in Victorville, outside of Victorville. They don't do that one anymore, but that was old. That's where we used to, um, they used to bring in the troops that had to fly, you know what I mean? The training troops and stuff. And then all the convoys would be everything, actual convoys. So say they're local, they're close enough. They're actually going to
Mhm.
convoy onto Fort Irwin. We coordinate with them, make sure they knew the back routes. They couldn't take the main roads and all that.
Yeah.
We'd lead them in. We'd make sure there were safety checks done if they were came off the railhead. You guys got water. Don't touch the desert tortoise. Giving them all the local briefs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to NTC?
I've never been
Uh,
to
uh,
NTC, but I mean, I'm familiar with, like, oh, hey, here you are. Look out for these snakes that are this color, and don't
yeah,
touch the blue spiders or whatever, that kind of stuff for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So we had to give all the safety briefs for those guys. The desert tortoise is the joke out there because, not the joke, but everybody don't touch the desert tortoise because in our briefs, like it's a $25,000 fine
Oh wow.
if you
Okay.
hit or touch or mess or anything with them. And so here's all this military equipment lined up, ready to go to war, right? And a desert tortoise comes out in the middle of the road, and now the war stops because there's a $25,000 hurdle in the middle of the road. You got to wait for him to cross.
Yeah.
Um,
And you can't like
so
help them along. Can't take like a
yeah,
broom
you
and
can't
kind of.
touch him, you can't scoot him, can't anything. And I found out why later on. I always wondered while I was there. It freaking bothered me. I'm like, why? Why can't we just scoot him along, like help him along his way? What's the problem? Come to find out, desert tortoises are extremely good at water retention.
Hmm.
And if you scare them, they will pee. And if they pee, they could die because they won't make it to the next watering hole or whatever they got planned out. Like they're extremely talented with that. I'm like, holy crap. So yeah, just poke him and he's done. I mean,
Yeah.
the struggle's real. Respect, brother. Go ahead. Yeah, $25,000. I'm not touching you or messing with you, bro. So
That's definitely not one of those I was expecting to talk about. Like, oh, you can't touch the turtle because he'll piss himself and die. Like,
yeah, yeah. I didn't expect that either. I'm like, oh, so that's why he just die. Like he pees and dies.
yeah.
Uh,
And I assume it's like an endangered species or whatever that's protected. That's why they do that and stuff.
yeah, they are protected. Yep. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they
Yeah.
live, they own that place, man. They own that place. We,
That had to be a trip. Just telling all these new people coming in all the time, like, hey man, I know it seems like I'm joking, but don't touch the tortoise.
yeah, the serious thing is don't touch the tortoise. It was funny. It was funny.
No.
It was good times, long days out there, hard nights.
How long were you there
but I'm
again?
blessed for it. So we were there for 2 years,
Okay,
a little over 2 years. Yeah,
gotcha.
two and some change, and then we got orders to go to Korea, South Korea. And by then we had one baby. So 2 years in, we had one baby, and one was on the way. So um, and in Korea, when you get orders for Korea, you can do 1 year alone, or you could do 2 years accompanied. So I came to when I got the order, they came to wifey and I said, "Baby, do you want to? I don't want to leave you here, or you're welcome to stay if you want to." And then I would only go for a year, and then we can worry about where our next duty station is after that.
Hmm.
I'll bring you there, or come with me to this strange foreign land for 2 years,
Yeah.
and we'll be together and we'll figure it out from there. And she didn't even blink. She was like, "Yep, let's go." One
Wow.
baby in the belly, one baby out. She's like, we're going to go to Korea. It was a scary, tough time. That was our second one. And we spent our anniversary on the plane. Like, so I was flying to Korea. I'll never forget that. April 24th, our anniversary is coming up. Uh, Flying with a baby on a 12-hour plus flight
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Korea.
I'm sure that was easy. No problems there.
Yeah, that didn't create any issues in the relationship she had. No, she was. It was tough, but I mean, that sucks. But like now, you talk to her about it, and we kind of laugh about it. At that time,
Yeah.
we don't. We were not laughing about like this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So we did. I went to Korea, and Korea was another MCT. I was blessed again, so I got to deal with a lot of things that were movement control wise. I was a neo rep there, which was really important.
What is a neo
Non-combatant
rep?
evacuation operations.
Okay.
So if uh, Korea is basically they never really stopped, right? They're at an armistice.
Yeah.
North Korea and South Korea, which is why you have the DMZ area.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
demilitarized zone. You're not supposed to go past that or over that. So they're at a ceasefire. At any point in time, you're not going to deploy when you're stationed there because you're ready to, that's your mission.
Yeah.
Like you're ready to protect South Korea, essentially, if anything went off or anything went wrong. And if anything went wrong, I was put in charge of making sure non-combatants were evacuated from the area. So all the families that we
Okay.
had, like I have my family there, right? So what happens if something happens? Well, they need to have all this stuff prepared, all these documents ready, and then I need to get them through, accounted for, and off as far south or off out of Korea as quickly as possible, right?
Okay.
So that was extremely meaningful for me. That was I loved that. I loved doing that. It was a very important piece uh, of the pie over there. So blessed again, got to do some really good things there. I was a corporal at the MCT and had a crew, and then I was a corporal day one when I landed in Korea because pretty much because I landed there, got barely got my wife settled and everything, and my first sergeant immediately sent me to BLC or WLC.
Yeah.
So WLC was to become a sergeant, right?
Yeah.
ALC, yeah, it prepares you to receive E5 rank, right? And I barely got my wife there, and she's there with a kid, and we barely got a house situated, and then I'm gone again. I'm like, this is
Ha
ridiculous, and that was hard
haven't
for her.
even
And she's in a foreign country, and she doesn't have a car, and we don't got nothing yet. Like, what the fuck?
haven't
It
even
sucked.
unpacked your bags yet, and it's like, well, I got to go wheels up again.
Yeah, yeah. I landed and just days after I'm gone to training, right? At Camp Jackson. And then when I came back, they immediately pinned me corporal because they were short crews too and they needed NCOs. So and they had seen that I was already an NCO at a corporal. I didn't get no specialist time, by the way. That was pretty unique in my career too. I wore specialist for probably three months.
Really?
If that, and then I was pinned corporal and had soldiers underneath me. I had a night shift out at NTC on the flight line for the last half that I was there. We were in Victorville and Skila,
Okay.
and I ran the night shift. And
Now,
then
see,
going to Korea,
that's a pretty interesting thing with me because like I never saw a corporal, but maybe once in like all of the Like any transportation unit I was in, all that kind of stuff, the structures, man, I could go on for days about how stupid the structures were in the units I was in. But yeah, like corporals were non-existent. So to hear that you in your unit became a corporal because they needed NCOs and leadership and stuff, it's like that's totally foreign to what I was doing.
Yeah, they're like, this guy's old. Put him in charge. At least he's old. Or older. I don't know what made them pick, but First Sergeant Baldridge was my first sergeant at NTC, and she was good people's. I definitely respect her. I was lucky to have her. And she saw fit to say, you're a corporal and here's some soldiers, you're gonna run a night shift. And then my first sergeant in Korea, I didn't like so much, but also for whatever reason, I came back from ELC. Maybe that's what it was, like you're preparing to be a sergeant anyway. We're just gonna expedite this process until you really promote, and here's your
Yeah.
soldiers. And I mean, when I tell you I had a struggle with my soldiers in Korea, that was the hardest. It's like they took the soldiers that had the most struggles in that unit, that MCT, and said, "Here you go, Sergeant or Corporal Brown, figure it out. Like, take care of them." Like these soldiers had real world struggles, man. Like not passing PT tests. Like I don't know, maybe they were missing home or emotional, whatever situations. They had a lot going on. They really did. They're missing formations. Like you, David, dude, this was trial by fire. It was not a fun time. I got woke up in the middle of the night. Was one of my soldiers punched a wall locker and broke his hand, and I had to take him to the hospital because in Korea you don't have a lot of the medical facilities on post. They're small camps, and you have to go on the economy basically to get taken care of, and you have to go with your soldiers when they're hurt. So great times in Korea. But by the time I left there, I will say those soldiers turned themselves around completely. I couldn't have been prouder of them. That was the greatest group of soldiers I had the opportunity to lead. They'd gone through, like I said, they had their struggles. They were dealing with things or whatever. But by the time I left there, they had done a whole 180, and I couldn't be prouder of them. Like that was tough to do, and in foreign country too. Like now you didn't have your family, you didn't have this, so man, they're great, and they got me a little plaque and a whole bunch of other things, and the unit gave me some. I was more proud of this little bitty plaque and thing that these soldiers got me. Like that was my thing going leaving there. I was like, this is so cool. Like I had that
Yeah.
effect. I was able to be that blessing to them. Whatever it was, made that change in them. Whatever it was, like I loved that. That was more important to me than what the unit was giving me an AM because I moved.
Yeah.
Like what they do with PCSA. Yeah, like whatever, bro. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, so I mean, a lot of those, it's just the formality. It's like, oh, you went and did the job, so you get the pin on your uniform like everybody does. But to
Yeah.
have your soldiers come out of their own pocket to come together and recognize you for something like it's so much more meaningful.
Yeah. The other big thing, absolutely, was feeling beautiful. That meant everything. I still have it. I still have the little plaque, and I'm just hold on to it. I gotta break it out and put it in my new cubicle. I just moved again, but um, I had a great captain there. We were talking about good officers in my career. I've had three really great officers that I can think of off the top of my head without even digging any deeper. I'm sure there's probably more, so nobody take offense, but there was at least three really great officers. And one of the key things about the junior officers that I remember most in my mind was the day they showed up. Me being a E6, E5, whatever, they were like, Sergeant Brown, come with me. Everything you do and what you know, show me, like walk through everything with me. Show me the way, basically. They were very receptive, very open, very collaborative, which made them really, really good leaders,
Yeah.
I think. Um, and then the commander we had, I don't want to drop names, but you can leave it. He knows who he is. My commander in at the MCT when I first got there was brand new to the unit. I had gone through a little bit of a situation while I was in Korea at the gate. and had some issues, and I could have been barred for reenlistment. And it wasn't that like drinking or nothing crazy. It's just that they were very strict at the gates, right? Um, and so he came in, and to get to the point, he had just taken over command. He didn't know me for anybody else. He didn't have nothing to go on.
Yeah.
And he took that what could be serious disciplinary actions. You know how people can love to take things, oh, Article 15 kick you out because I was dating my wife in AIT. Like it could be that. And
Yeah.
we're Article 15 you, they want to throw the whole book at you because you're in the army. It could have been that. Like any mistake you make in the military could be that. But he took the time and was like, no, I'm not. Look, dude, I'm gonna put a bar, and if you show me the next freaking couple weeks, you're a good soldier. I don't see why everybody's throwing the book at you right now. Like he throttled all that back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, chill out. And he's the say all in, in any disciplinary action, he's the commander. And he took that chance on me. He's like, nah, we're not doing that. And for me, that was huge because like here I am with my wife and two kids, and I didn't have a full understanding of what really officers could do as far like how much power they have over your enlisted career, you know what I mean? When it comes to disciplinary actions and stuff. We were just afraid, right? Think back to basic training. I still had that mindset. I was afraid that they could just destroy you.
Yeah.
But later on, you find out that's not the case. But even then, I always respected the fact that he sat down, talked to me, treated me like a human being and not like just a soldier.
Yeah.
So I really admire him for that. I really, really do. I was blessed to have him. It was perfect time for that type of leader. Uh, so that was Korea. Those are the biggest things that I remember from there. We did some sling load stuff over there, which is pretty cool.
What is it?
Um,
Sling load?
Sling load, having net helicopter swings down,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And you
Gotcha.
net up everything, and the helicopter lifts and pulls away, takes it really quick wherever it's going to be, sits down, undrop, that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I had never got to do any of that, and mine was
Oh, I forgot. So I don't know why I forgot. While I was there, we did temporary port operations. Have you seen that? Stabbing the beach?
yes, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So when we were there, it was historical that we had done it because it hadn't been done in something like 10 or 12 years. Like the Army hadn't done it
Oh, really?
in a good decade.
Yeah.
They hadn't put in temporary docks. And we did that exercise down in Busan. Our commander got us signed up for however it worked out, blah, blah, blah. We drove down there and we unloaded boats on floating friggin' docks. And it was really, really cool. And yes, of course it was raining because we were out there. And if the tents were flooded and we had to stack like uh uh pallets for loading unloading stuff, like
Yeah.
we had like we were like two or three pallets high standing on, and then our tents were set on top of those. And then we had pallets walkways to the showers and to everything because the whole field that we were set up at was flooded. It was flooded like a foot of water, and it stayed that way almost the whole exercise. It was like living on the swampland. It was hilarious. And so the other thing that stuck out to me on that one was we stabbed this beach. It was super historic. We were unloading all these things. We're doing some high speed, super awesome 88 November stuff. We're living in the swamps. We're doing all the army things. It was just so great. My commander, instead of going off to like one of the barracks or anything else, rolls his big ass suitcase with all his conveniences, right? All his snacky snacks and all these cool things he wanted to bring to the field. He just strolls right into the tent with all the other soldiers and picks up his own little cot right there with us, just side by side, and sets up shop. And I'm
Yeah.
like, the commander in the tent with the Joe? Like, what is going on? And he's like, no,
Yeah.
like we're in this together, you know what I mean? And then when he opened up all his snacky snacks, he
Sharing
brought them
them.
for the
Yeah.
soldiers. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
him, that he brought his stuff for. So again, just key things that stand out to a soldier when you're leading them, that he was thinking of us and that he's right there with us, and he could have been, bougieing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's privilege allotted to you as an officer, but no, right here
Well,
with good old E5 Sergeant Brown, and here's some chips, Sergeant Brown. You hungry? Let's go. We
yeah.
got some things to do.
Well, it's funny you say that because like if an officer even did like half that, they would be pretty widely regarded as a decent officer. Like
Well,
even if they
solid
didn't
officer.
stay in the tent with you, but even if like he showed up, like came out to the job site a few times during the exercise, brought some of the snacks, got down into the flooding, even just that would have been like, yeah, that dude is like making the effort to at least come out here.
Yeah.
But then to stay with you guys is like the next level. You know what
One
I
of
mean?
us. Yeah. He's just one of us, man. And
Well,
that's,
and
yeah, I would go to war with that guy in a heartbeat. All right, he's going to be in the trenches with me. You know what I mean?
yeah, having an officer like that is so essential. Like even just like with your, your little incident there, and because I've had the majority of my OICs and stuff were the ones that were like, oh, you got a small infraction. Well, that means we're going to tack on, behavior unbecoming, and we're going to add this thing and add that
Yeah.
thing, and we're going to do the whole whatever, versus being able to recognize like sometimes people make mistakes, so you give them that chance. They show that they just messed up in the moment, but they don't need all that extra crap.
Yeah.
When I was
Yeah,
deployed
they like to. They
overseas,
like to. We're gonna throw the book at you, blah, 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 blah. You're like, bro, I didn't. It's not that serious. Like,
yeah,
it's not that big a deal. Like, what?
yeah,
And
just
it
take a
doesn't feel
step
like
back,
anybody's willing to fight for you either, or at least it didn't for me in that.
Yeah,
And at that moment, it really didn't feel like I had anybody on your team. It was just, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, we'll throw the
Well,
book at you. Oh, blah, 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 blah. You're like, be the simplest freaking thing. You're out of uniform. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm gonna wreck your career because you're out of uniform. It's not that serious. Calm down. But it doesn't, and nobody was willing to do that. Nobody was willing to. He did. He came in. He's like, calm down. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean? This is not a big deal. We'll find a way through it.
yeah,
Something has to happen, but it doesn't have to be that serious. And he's like,
yeah.
no. So,
Like I have to reprimand you, but I don't
yeah.
necessarily have to put you out of the army because
I
you
don't have to,
forgot to shave this morning or whatever.
yeah, yeah. I didn't have to wreck your career, but
Yeah. Yeah, I got real lucky when I was overseas, Gerdo, and I've interviewed him for this. Like that was one of the, when you say the guy, he showed an interest, that was one of the first things he did was he asked me if I would stay late with him one night and like go over the plans that we were doing and how we did stuff. And he even said, it's like, it's not that I'm going to do your job, but at least I can have a familiarity what it is that you do. That way I can best support you in that, because like that's what he's there
yeah,
for, you
yeah,
know?
those things, that things, so any officer listening, that's to me, that's huge. You got to do that. You got to get on level with your soldiers and take that time. I got to get going. We got a
Yeah, no,
movie
I appreciate it.
we
Yeah.
got to get to. We can pick up some other time, maybe this weekend or something like that
Yeah,
if you
for
want
sure.
to
Whenever
continue
you're
for sure.
free. So, but yeah, thanks a lot for doing this. And yeah, we'll definitely get together and do a part two for sure.
Okay, sounds good. Take care, man. Good
Talk
to
to you
see you.
later.